Okay, this question is for Lotus Claw 8. He's got a question about a situation that happened in practice, right? You set the parameters for the game of monkey in the middle, and then when you notice two players were too fatigued, you wanted to switch out people who were in the middle, and one of your players was talking back to you and saying that, well, that's not fair because you set the rules and the rules said this, and you want to switch them out anyway, and right, they said, well, you said you're the coach and that's how it is, and they said, well, you know they didn't like that. So this is not a big deal. I think you did the right, you were trying to do the right thing, which is two of my players are not just tired, they're past tired, and it's the drill wasn't being beneficial. It wasn't helping them, right? It wasn't helping them being punished in the way they were being punished. Technically, well, it wasn't helping them grow in the way that you wanted, right? It wasn't hard in the right way. The thing I do have the problem with is that you allowed the coach of the girls team to come over into your session, or you looked towards guidance to a different coach running their own thing. So I think, not that that's a bad thing, but I think you want to keep your training isolated, in the sense that, right, you want to be a leader. You want to be a leader for your team, and I'm not saying it's not good to look for others for help or advice. I think that's super important for growing as a coach, but I think you kind of have to be the final say in matters dealing with your own team, right? Especially if you're the only coach or the head coach or the assistant coach. If you're fulfilling any of those roles, it has to run through you, because if you're looking through someone else, then if you're looking to another coach of a different team, right, then the players, you know, you have to gain a rapport with your players, and you want to start building trust with them. And if the person who's supposed to be in charge doesn't know what to do, that could make things more challenging in the future. So even if you don't know what to do, sometimes you gotta start pretending to know what you do. And I think over time you'll start to build as you gain more interactions or have more interactions, you'll be able to reflect on them, and your knowledge will improve as you start to learn the game more and develop more coaching skills. But I think at the end of the day, you want to keep it fun, keep it light, as long as you're encouraging to your players. And if you start to increase your awareness and increase your knowledge, even a little bit of it, of diving into your sport and into how other coaches, right, the more you invest and are curious about coaching as a role, and what do good coaches do, what are some simple things coaches do, what are the fundamentals of being a good coach. And I'm not saying you haven't already done all those things, I'm sure you have, but I think the whole point is that with a few fundamentals laid down as a coach, you could execute so much more effectively, especially since you've got some background in the military, right? So right, being organized, being on time, some of those simple things that you can instill in your players, those are some fundamentals that you don't have to be you don't have to grow up in a soccer culture to master some fundamentals to be a decent coach and have great results, right? You could be a mediocre, your soccer knowledge could be poor, and you could coach effectively and have great results if you can run a great practice and you know understand some fundamental concepts. So if I was you, this is what my practice would look like every single day. You run the same practice every day because this format is simple. There's a pattern to it. Players look forward to it. This is how it was run by a Gatorade Coach of the Year out of New Jersey. His name is Doug Nevins. This is who I've mirrored my coaching style after. It starts with a warm-up, a simple warm-up. You have the players lead the warm-up. There's got to be a self-elected captain or someone who thinks they're fit into this role, usually a senior, right, one of the oldest players, and you have them lead the whole team warm-up. Shouldn't be more than 10, 15 minutes, whatever. The next thing you do is finishing on goal. You take all your balls, as many as you have, and then you go couple steps past the 18, facing the goal, and if you have one or more keepers, they're rotating in goal, and you just have the line. You want to have the line. They take the ball and they sprint as fast as they can towards goal, and it's called Slotsville. They slot the ball in the lower right or the lower left side of the goal, and it's high reps, right? Immediately, you're not blowing a whistle. The players are going as fast as they can, and it's a hard shot on the ground. It's a hard pass on the ground. You want to have them hit the frame. You want to have them hit the frame of the goal, make the goalkeeper make a save, right? There should be no misses. There should be no misses, right? Because if you're not challenging the goalkeeper to make a save, and you can't even hit the frame in practice, right? You want to have them hit the frame. It's a hard pass on the ground. It's a slot, right? This is finishing on goal, Slotsville. The next is after 5 to 10 minutes of this, you start to pick up the goals. You have the players face you. And you're facing the goal. The players are facing you. Goalkeeper's in goal. You throw the ball over the head. They have to turn around, and they're ripping a shot, volley out of the air, right? So it's Slotsville, then volleys. They got to chase their ball. Ideally, you want to do this on a goal where there's a backstop, a natural backstop, or a net, or a wall, so that they spend more time finishing and less time chasing. The next thing you do... Did I fuck it up? I'm sorry, I messed up. The first thing you do is possession, right? The second thing you do is finishing on goal and volleys, right? So first thing is possession. I'm sorry, I messed up. So possession, you split the team. You split the team in half, or you do, if the team's unequal, let's say you got 13 or whatever, or for some reason it's unequal, then you could do 2 players. You do two teams, even teams, and then the extra player, it's a neutral player, so it's playing for both teams. And you want to have possession be in a space where players are getting a lot of touches, and it's a tight space. So I would play possession, depending on the size of your team. You want to be small enough where they're getting a lot of touches, but not too small where they can't even move around. So I would split the field in half, and then I'd split the field in half again, right? Just thinking about the size of a high school team. So, right, you're playing on a half of a half, right? So you're playing on a quarter of the field. That's a tight space. You could also use the length. If you're let's say you're taking a goal kick, the corner, right? The corner of where that goal kick is. If you continue that line to the half field, that whole space, right? That whole rectangle, that's a good space, and a frame of an approximate space where you could do possession, right? That's a good size of the field where you can do possession. If you got a big team, you could do, right? I'm talking 20 plus players, 2 teams of 10. You could squeeze them on just a half of a whole soccer field, and that could work for possession, right? And then you play, first team to 3, first team to 5, and that's a basic possession. Possession is key, right? You want to work possession every practice. Then you do finish on goal, Slotsville, hitting the frame. Then it's volleys. Then it's crossing and finishing. Crossing and finishing. You have 2 lines. You have 2 lines on the outside, right? You have 2 lines on the inside, right? So 4 lines total, and you're starting the lines halfway at the half of the half, right? So not at the right. If you have a field, they're not starting at the center line. You're starting a few yards out past the 18, right? So your wide players are alternating, serving a cross in, and then your middle lines are crisscrossing, right? This line goes to the far post. This line goes to the near post, and you're alternating lines, and right. So you go right side. So right side goes. So they lay the ball. They have the balls are on the outside, right? And you're alternating the serving lines on the outside. So then the right side will play a ball to themselves, then cross it in, and then your players on the inside, they go and they try to finish one time. No defenders, no defenders. And then your left side goes, and then the two center players are go as the left, as they make the run up. The left person on the left crosses it, and then they finish trying to finish on goal. So that you can do that for 10, 15 minutes, and you want to make sure that the players on the outside curve. It's a diagonal. It's a diagonal run / walk, right? They just play the ball in front of themselves. They make it easy to serve a nice cross. So it's a curved walk to goal, so that they can just cross a ball in. And the whole point is to be able to execute, to finish on goal. The two central players, right? Crossing the ball and finishing on goal is key to scoring goals and winning games. And the last thing you do is you take two nets, right? You want two big goals, and you bring them in very close. So maybe a little bit farther than the 18-yard box. You want to make it so that you split 3 teams. You split your team into 3 teams, and one team is on the outside as bumper players, and they have 1 touch. And this makes it so that the players on the outside, they're super engaged, because all they want to do is they want to get onto the field. So the reason why you have big goals is because you're replicating game scenarios, right? And you want to have a fast, high scoring. You want a goal every 2 to 4 minutes, right? Because someone's going to make a mistake on the field, or someone doesn't track back, and then you have a transition from attack to defense, or defense to attack, and then they're finishing on goal. So I would run that session every single practice, and what that's going to do is it's going to replicate the things that you need to do in the game every day. You want to keep the ball. You want to finish on goal. You want to finish with volleys. You want to do crossing and finishing, and you want to have the ability to go from attacking to defending rapidly and capitalizing on your opportunities. So this is a simple routine that mimics gameplay very well, and it's a whole lot of fun, right? The whole thing could take you an hour and a half, and then you're out of there, right? So you want to end the last part when there's players have great energy. You finish on a goal, and I think that's, if I was a high school coach, that's how I'd run practice every time. So you got any questions? Reach out, and thank you for your time. Okay.